For this last topic, we're going to split this over two videos. The first one, I need to show you some calculator techniques that you've never seen before. But one thing that you are somewhat familiar with are these two-way tables, so I'm going to use this as our first example. So, for instance, looking at this number 53, we're taking a survey that happened and we're dividing people into two variables, age versus answer. So these 53 people are 30 or over in age and answered yes to some question. So one thing that we can do in a two-way table is come up with these marginal totals. Sometimes that helps for certain calculations. So we can fill this in real quick. So just adding straight across, I get 70 here, I get 90, adding down 78 and 82. So either way you add these up, 70 plus 90 is the same as adding straight across. So we're going to learn not only how to take these numbers and make calculations out of them, but how to put this table in your calculator in what's called a matrix. So before we do that, I do want to check your own calculator to make sure it's cleared from any old matrix operations that may have happened before. So let me write down a few instructions and then I'll walk you through that. So this is how we clear our calculator. And the first thing we do is hit second and then hit your plus sign. And you'll see a list, and we're going to choose number 2 for memory management and deleting. And after that, we'll choose number 5 for matrix. So let me show you on my calculator. With it on, second and the plus sign. There's memory management and deleting, number 2. And then from this list, number 5, matrix. Now, a matrix in our calculator always shows up as a capital letter surrounded by these brackets. My calculator has 3 old matrices that were there, and let's just start with I want to get rid of them, and all I do is hit the delete button until they're all gone. It's possible you got this far, you may not have any there, which is okay. So there's nothing to delete. Okay, so now we're ready. Once I'm done with this, I can hit clear, and we're back to my home screen. So a matrix is just a rectangle of numbers, just like a two-way table is. The one thing we need to make sure when we do this is we only enter the original data. Don't enter the marginal totals. Another thing about these two-way tables is they're always defined by their size, rows versus columns. So if you ask what size table this is, rows by columns, there's 2 rows and 2 columns. So we need to tell our calculator that as well. So here's how we get there. So back to our calculator. How do I get to the matrix feature of our calculator? It's kind of like a list. When we've entered data into a list. But you'll notice the buttons we need, second, and this button right here. The word matrix is right above that X to the -1 button. So we hit second, then go find your matrix button. And from here you'll see a screen that lists different letters that could stand for different matrices by name. But what we want to do is edit. We want to change one, just like a list. So we're going to scroll over to the edit menu, and it still looks the same. But let me write that down, edit, and always choose the first one, matrix A. We're only going to use one at a time, and so A is always going to be our default. So we're editing A, and the first question it wants to know is what size table are we working with, and that's why we needed to know this was a 2 by 2. So 2, enter, 2, enter. It always brings up a matrix with zeros in all the spots, but we know that we need to enter the original numbers. So just start like a list, type in the first cell, 25, hit enter. and it automatically scoots you over to the next cell, 45, 53, and 37. And that's it. We've entered the data into a matrix. And now I want to get back to my home screen like usual. We hit second mode, and we're back there. If you're to return to your matrix screen, hit second matrix, you'll now see that matrix A, all it tells you is there's now a 2x2 matrix that's been created and nothing else. I'm going to show you another step that we're going to need on our second round. So if you could get back to your home screen, one thing that we're going to be doing in this section is we are going to be doing a hypothesis test, and we're going to learn about one that we've never seen before. So don't worry about the details. I just want you to get some muscle memory on how to get this to happen. And the way we get a test to happen on our calculators, like usual, is we hit Stat, go over to the test menu, and this time what we're looking for most calculators is under choice C. It looks like it says x squared dash test. That's called the chi-square test, is how you say that. So chi-square test, again, chi is a Greek letter, squared test. So again, we'll talk about more about this in the next one, but go ahead and choose that one, and you're going to see how friendly this screen is. The chi-square test is all about matrices. We've already put data into matrix A. Ignore matrix B. We'll talk about this later. I just want you to go down to calculate and hit enter. And you're going to see a screen that doesn't make a whole lot of sense other than the fact that you might understand what a p-value is. All I want you to do now is I want you to return to your matrix menu by hitting second matrix, and notice what just got created for you. You didn't create matrix B, but now there is one that's also a 2x2. I want you to go look at it real quick with me. So head over to Edit and choose matrix B. And you'll see a bunch of numbers in here that don't make any sense to us yet, but they were created by performing that hypothesis test. Let's do one more example. So I've got back to my home screen. I'm going to clear, and let me give you a new table that we can look at. So here we go. What if we had 10, 20, 40, 15, 25, 30, 40, 30, 10, and finally 20, 10, 50. So imagine this was a survey asked of a large group of people, and one variable they maybe asked them, we don't know, but whatever their choice were, we'll just call that X, Y, Z. Across the top there was 4 possible answers. I'll just generically call that A, B, C, D, just to give these some headings. Let's not spend time getting those subtotals. We'll just trust that we can get those if we had to. But let's practice putting this matrix into our calculator. First of all, what size matrix is this? How many rows? How many columns? This is a 3 by 4. There's no need to clear your matrices each time. You can just type over an old one. So I'm going to head to my matrix screen, Edit, Matrix A always. And again, the first thing we need to do is change the dimensions to 3 by 4. And we can type over old data as we enter these new numbers. So here we go. 10, enter, 15, and we keep going. And we got it. So back to my home screen. Again, I want you to look and see what your matrix list looks like currently. If you hit second matrix, this is telling us we just entered new data into matrix A, and my old matrix B is still what we did from the previous example. Don't worry about that. We're going to fix that. So back in my home screen, if we perform this new kind of test by going to Stat, Test, to choice C for chi-square test, All you have to do is head down to calculate. A is what we plugged in, and B is what's going to be created for us. So all we have to do is hit enter, and we've got the screen we want. Head back to your matrix screen, and again, you'll see matrix B is already had been adjusted for us. These will always match by size. So whatever matrix A is, matrix B will always match the dimensions. Let's take a look at matrix B just real quick. If I were to head over to edit and then choose matrix B, you'll see a bunch of numbers, again, that you didn't enter, but your calculator came up for you. All right, in the next video, we will learn what this is all about, but now we have some muscle memory on how to enter data into our calculator using the matrix feature.